I knew that we were going in the mystery van, I had been told, but it was still a surprise when it came up the driveway. I had never been on a trip this long before. 10 hours in a van, painted like the Mystery Mobile, with people I've never seen before. It's quite an experience. I was actually awake during the second day, so I kind of remember better. There were a lot of stops, and it seemed like it was a lot longer trip. I felt like we drifted through an endless stream of bathroom breaks and fast food restaurants, but we somehow managed to get to our destination.
Yeah, exposing the subfloor because it's playing whole spaces.
This house was our first assignment. It was all demolition. We had to gut it because the sea level had gone up to about the window. We would take all the stuff out from the inside, the walls and the sheetrock and the floor, and put it in this boat, which would then be taken to the side of the road where FEMA trailers would eventually pick it up.
My wife and I both wrote checks, but a check didn't seem adequate. You cannot imagine the devastation that is here along the Gulf Coast. The pictures and the television images, there's no way that they can convey the story.
This scene of beauty at the end of the day stood in stark contrast to what we had seen earlier. None of us had ever witnessed such destruction, and none of us will ever forget it. We took down the shed for an elderly lady. It wasn't difficult, but we could tell that she really appreciated our work. We had a lot of extra time since the day's job had been so quick. We used it to see the sights near the coastline, cars and pools, buildings, only the shells were left. These are just a few examples of the destruction that we saw. We toured a random road near the coast. This is what it looked like. Day 5 was spent working in the store. Trucks would come and give us food, and then people would line up at our entrance and come in and take the food that they needed to get by. All of them were displaced by the hurricane, and they really needed this. Before we went to the job the second day, we stopped at this bridge that had been over a bay in the Gulf Coast. It was completely destroyed. The only thing that was left were the cement pylons, and those were barely there. Our job was to move stuff from a tent at this church into the Kwanzaa hut.
Scott Bagley, who's the senior warden, who's also on the search committee, came back, called his wife called him while he was still at church in Gulfport after the 10 o'clock service and said, "Where are you? We have got to get out of here." And at that time, Scott didn't realize that we knew it was bad, and they were going to evacuate, but they didn't quite have the sense. And as he was driving back, he said he heard on NPR, "This is bad. This is not good." And then they would pause. NPR is the national public radio. And they don't pause and get emotional. And he knew it was really bad because they couldn't even keep going. And so he drove back, and he and Sandra got their stuff together. They came up to the church and got the chalice and the paten and the books. And they were here at this church site at about 4 in the afternoon, and the water was lapping up over Beach Boulevard.
Our second job was pretty easy, but the house next door was quite interesting. It was completely off its foundation, and its inside was totally askew. That's a couch in the kitchen, and there was insulation everywhere. Nothing was where it should have been.
Life happens, and when life happens, you just have to pick up the pieces and move on. We had 10 feet of water in our house, and we're back. And actually, this restaurant was open during the hurricane, and for 3 days afterwards, and we just reopened them a few weeks ago. And you have to pick up the pieces and move on.
We spent most of our day in the parts of New Orleans that hadn't been destroyed. French Quarter, Bourbon Street. It still looked okay to us, but it was impossible to miss the signs that Katrina had been there. The people down in Mississippi still need our help. It's 6 months after the hurricane, and it still looks like this.
That there is lots of hope, there is lots of strength, there is lots of resilience, but the amount of work that is necessary down here to bring this place back to any sense of normalcy is absolutely mind-boggling.